today it's threatening to rain. As you can see by the wet pavement, we've already had some. But today we are going for a KTM Demo Ride. We are on our way to test out for sure the Super Duke GT, and hopefully, if there is time, the 1090 Adventure R, 1090R Adventure, whatever it's called. I don't know which one I am more excited for. I have to think it's the Super Duke GT. That thing is just, oh, it so piques my interest. That V-twin sounds amazing. I'm hearing it creates a tremendous amount of power right through the rev range. I've looked at it up close. The panniers go on seamlessly when they come off. There's no hint of any racks or bars or anything. It just looks so clean and tidy. Super good looking bike. Very excited. So let's see how it turns out. As for the 1090, I'm pretty excited about that one too. I kind of like the idea of on and off-road. I do miss my DR650. That bike was a lot of fun. I shouldn't have sold it. I sold it so cheap. Oh, why did I sell it? I sold it because I wanted street bike. I love street bike, but having off-road capability is pretty fun. Anyway, stay tuned. Let's see how it turns out. Okay, here we are. We are on the KTM Demo Ride, and we are riding the Super Duke GT. This thing is pretty freaking awesome. The power that this thing makes is unbelievable. It pulls hard. I'm kind of being a little timid on it. It's not my bike. I would hate to wreck this thing and owe somebody all this money. But oh man, the power is pretty awesome. Also, the brakes. Brembo brakes. They are definitely Brembo brakes. As soon as you touch them, it will stop that bike. It's got a gear indicator. Pretty awesome. What do we got? Fuel gauge. I haven't played with all the rider modes yet. Some people are all about riding modes. I've never had riding modes, so I don't really know what I'm missing. I could play with them, I guess, but why do I need to? I'm not in the rain. I don't need to reduce power. Like if I owned this bike and I were to let somebody else try it out that isn't the best rider in the world, but they're okay, I would dumb it down to rain mode for sure. Or if I'm actually in the rain, I would dumb it down to rain mode for sure. But right now, it's dry pavement. Why do I need rain mode? Don't. It's in street mode. And it's powerful. That's awesome. But you don't have to tap into it. Like you can ease into the throttle quite nicely. Now keep in mind, this thing, or I have to keep in mind at least, this thing is a V twin. I am used to inline 4s. They are so much smoother through the handlebars. You can feel the whole bike just shake. Handlebars, foot pegs, the body where your knees are up against. Not actually in the seat though. This is a great seat. Oh, such a good seat. But mind you, I'm used to my Z800 seat, which is like sitting on a rock. This thing soaks up the bumps all right. I could see a long ride. How long of a ride could I handle on this thing? Well, that's hard to say without doing it. So far, we are half hour into this ride. Not even 20 minutes, maybe. My butt's fine. My butt is fine. Although that's probably a judgment call. I keep forgetting to try that quick upshift. Pascal, our instructor, said that this thing has a quick shifter only going up, not going down. You still have to do it the old-fashioned way to downshift. He also told us to keep 2 wheels on the ground at all times. Oh, badly do I want to try to wheelie this thing, but I better respect his wishes. What is the actual red line on this bike? Attack goes up to 12, but I don't see any red markings. Well, let's talk about the suspension. Is it soaking up the bumps? I'd say adequately. You wouldn't want to off-road. But this thing is a sportier machine. You could probably take it on the... well, I wouldn't say probably, because a lot of people have. You can track this machine, and the suspension can handle that no problem at all. Is that the kind of riding I want to do with it? No. I would never want to track this bike. I would want a track bike to go on the track. My street bike, I want to be good for the street. And what I mean by that is I want to be able to go on a 2-hour trip with no issues of a sore back, butt, wrists, hands. Can you do that with a full-out sport bike? No. But this is a nice blend of touring and sport. That acceleration is freaking awesome. Overall, do I like this bike? Absolutely. What is there to not like about this machine? It's just, I wouldn't say it's flawless, but oh my goodness, you can overlook any flaws you would find with it. The ergonomics are great. Handlebars are a nice distance apart. Lots of leg room. You can go on about the power. Everybody knows about the power. It's a 1290cc V-twin with 175 horsepower. I don't even know the torque numbers. They're astronomical as well. More power than you need. But oh, is it fun. You could leave anybody in the dust. Unless they're on a Super Duke. I'm sure there's other bikes you could not leave in the dust too, but... traction control kicked on there. Probably keeping the front end down. Woo! Oh my goodness. There, I tried the quick shifter. That works. So you can kind of bog this engine down. I'm a 6th gear, 4,000 RPM. It'll still pull pretty hard considering. But it's not in your face at that point. It's a little tamer. If you want in your face power, first 3 gears are definitely in your face. They're not for the tame. This is not a bike for a beginner. You beginners who love this bike, get some experience first. Because this bike will kick you in the nuts if you don't know what you're doing. This bike has so many features, I wouldn't even get to try them all out on this ride. Like the cruise control even, like, we're not going the same speed, so I can't really try the cruise. The one thing I notice is when you go to signal, it's not much of a movement. You barely move it to the side, and it is already on. Let's try this cruise control. Look at that, it works. It almost doesn't like. I would have to say this bike does not like to cruise at 100 kilometers an hour in 6th gear. Like, what it does like to do is accelerate. Tim Taylor moment. It's exactly what it is. All the buttons are within reach. That's kind of nice. Whatever this housing is on each side, I don't know if you can see it or not. This whole housing is definitely bigger than usual. It's got a lot more in it though. Mirrors are decent, like you do see your elbows, but it's not hard to see around them. Do I like this better than my Z800? Well, yeah, of course I do. But it's, again, it's the power and the seat. And windscreen, I can, like I said in a previous video, I like the wind. I don't mind getting hit by the wind. I can get hit by the wind for hours on end if it's a nice day. When it's cold, oh, you want that windscreen. You want the heated grips, which this has. This thing has a lot of options. I have the windscreen down as low as possible. Wind's hitting me about, I'd say shoulder height, but it's not buffeting my head at all. It's not yanking on the visor on this Icon variant helmet, which is quite normal, especially on a bike with no wind protection. I get very little wind, which would be nice if it was cold out, but it's actually, even though it's overcast, quite warm. The growl of that engine. So I would say, first and foremost, the first thing you're gonna notice and love about this bike is that engine. That V-twin sounds amazing, it pulls hard. The only downfall, see, I don't know if you can see that or not right there. See that windscreen shaking? That's the engine vibrating it. Would love to try this thing on the freeway. I bet you it just cruises quite well at the higher speeds. I do like this bike. Well, our ride's coming to an end here shortly. We're on the home stretch.
Yeah, we are in the place to be.
Here we go on a KTM 390. This feels weird. Oh, feel that wind. I haven't got that on any of the bikes that I've ridden today. This thing feels so small. Not a lot of roll-on power. None to be expected though. It is only a 390. It feels so tiny. I feel like I'm riding a baby bike. Essentially, I am riding a baby bike. You really have to drive it hard. Look, we're doing 115 right now. It'll do it. You really have to put it to work though. Mirrors are alright. You can see behind you, no problem. Ergonomics feel pretty good. Especially for such a little bike, you know, I'm a 6-foot man. I fit on it quite well. This would be a fun little beginner bike for somebody for sure. Doesn't seem to have any trouble doing 100 kilometers an hour by any means. You have to put it to work some days. Or some days you have to put it to work to get it up there. I'm trying to think of myself. Still got your gear indicator. Nice colorful dash. Yeah, it doesn't want to keep up the grip too easily though. I feel more at home on this bike because it is wide open, it's a naked bike. This is what I'm used to. Feel that wind. So this bike ended up being a bonus for me. I had signed up for the Super Duke GT. I had signed up for the 1090 Adventure. I did not sign up for the 390 Duke. It was the last ride of the day, and you could pretty much just jump on whatever bike was left. I could have grabbed this. I could have grabbed the Super Duke R if I wanted. I chose the 390. Let's try the little guy out. Would I buy this bike? No, definitely not. It is not big enough for me. I'm 200 pounds. Like even just in this little tour today, I have to pretty much full throttle every gear right to the red line just to keep up. But everybody's out here driving the bikes pretty hard because it's a demo day. You want to see what the bike's all about. Would I recommend this bike for somebody? Absolutely I would. I'm comfortable. The ergonomics are not bad. The only thing it's lacking is power and wind protection if that's your thing. This would be a great little first bike for somebody. Learn how to ride. It's not horrible on power. Here you go. I don't know if you can see this speedometer or not. Oh, we better not roll on. Coming to a turn here. Watch off this turn. We'll see if you can watch how fast the speedometer climbs. It's not a deal breaker. It's not what I'm used to either, though. It is definitely a small engine. I want to know how you get this job. Third gear, 70 kilometers an hour. Fifth gear, sixth gear, 125. Still lots of power there. I wouldn't say lots of power. That's kind of inaccurate. Man, you could like really throw this bike around though. It's so small and light. And it's got flickability. I love a nice sharp curve where I could really get it leaned over. Look at the dash. Can you see that? It's a nice dash. I have to tell you, every KTM bike I've looked at today has been thoroughly impressive. Even the little 390. This is the special edition one though, I think. Moto Rex, does that mean something? I don't know if you guys can hear that little engine go. It's trying. It's kind of doing it. Not sure I'd want to take this on the freeway. You could just barely keep up with the slow traffic, I think. Yeah, I could not own this bike. Me personally, I could not own this bike. I would be driving the shit out of it. And it would not last long. But this bike is not aimed towards me. This bike is aimed towards a beginner rider, which would be perfect beginner bike for somebody. If you are a beginner, never ridden before, and you're looking to get into motorcycling, and you've been looking at this bike, you can't go wrong. You could get your first year or two out of this bike and have a lot of fun. And learn how to ride properly without being intimidated. Could you take this bike to a track day? I've seen it on YouTube. People have done it. You probably could. I don't know about the ground clearance on these foot pegs, but the thing is very flickable. Yeah, that's look at the display. I'm telling you that's low fuel. That is very cool. I mean, the technology's there. Why isn't everybody doing this? KTM. You do make good motorcycles, I tell you that. Even the little baby 390, I'm having fun. Alright, 6th gear, 110 kilometers an hour. I am definitely feeling a buzz through the through my butt and through the foot pegs and in the handlebars. Not a deal breaker, but you can feel it. One thing I'm noticing right now is this clutch lever feels pretty cheap, flimsy. So we're just leaving the dealership. Test rode the Super Duke GT, the 1090 Adventure, and the 390 Duke for shits and giggles. And believe me, the 390 Duke is shits and giggles. It was kind of fun. I felt like a monster on it. I probably looked like a giant on it. It felt so tiny. It was so tiny that I couldn't even crouch down without my head hanging over the headlight. So of the three bikes, the one I was most keen to try, without a doubt, Super Duke GT. Pros of that bike, the engine is so powerful. But keep in mind, with great power comes great responsibility. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble with that bike very quickly. It is fast. You don't even have to try and it goes. But it comes with windscreen, adjustable, manually adjustable. And you can get panniers that clip on and off, which would be what I'd be looking for if I were to buy that bike. The second bike I test drove, the 1090 Adventure. That bike shocked me. I legitimately was not looking to enjoy that bike. I thought it'd be great to get on that bike, take some footage, say, it's good at this, it sucks at this. My only complaint with that motorcycle is the buffering on my head, which could probably be fixed with an aftermarket windscreen. Other than that, the ergonomics, loved it. The amount of power that it had, perfectly capable. I think the guy told me it was 125 horsepower. You got that power, like, it's just brought to you so perfectly. It's lighter than the 1290 Adventure, so if you're going to do some off-roading, that is a bonus. Of course, it's got your power modes, your traction control, and your ABS modes. If you want to change all that when you're going off-roading. That bike, you could hit the freeway and just log on the miles and you're not going to complain. It's just a wonderful, wonderful bike. I was shocked at how much I liked it, because I did not think that that kind of bike would be something I would be interested in. I like my sport bikes. But that 1090 Adventure was just awesome for me. I loved it. Also, it could have used cruise control. If they add cruise control to that bike, it would be a seller for me. And what do you say? It was like $2,000-3,000 cheaper than the 1290. Well done, KTM. The shifting was very smooth yet tactile. The clutch was effortless. Just a great bike. Not to take anything away from the Super Duke GT, that bike is everything you want it to be. I don't want to brag about it because there's tons of videos on YouTube of people bragging about that bike, and it's well deserved. That bike is a monster machine. The only thing I could find faults with that bike was, if say you're in a higher gear at a lower RPM and then you started getting on the throttle, it'll go. Not like you expect it to. Like say, I'm using for example, say 5th gear, doing like 70 kilometers an hour, which is, you're going to be in a low RPM for that. But when you roll on the throttle, it'll accelerate, sure. That's not what this complaint is. The complaint is the amount of vibration, because that thing makes so much power. It vibrates that bike a lot. If you were to, say, keep your RPMs higher the whole time, you would not get that. Other than that, like the brakes on that bike, spectacular. All the bikes today had spectacular, but I believe they're all Brembo. If you grab a little bit of a handful of brakes, you get launched forward on the bike. They're all very, very, very good brakes. The suspension on all the bikes was everything you thought they could be, especially with the Super Duke and the Adventure, because it had the suspension you could just go in, change. Say you got one passenger luggage, just rider, and it automatically adjusts the suspension for you. The 390 did not have that. It is definitely a lower quality motorcycle. I wouldn't say a bottom quality motorcycle by any means. It was actually shocking how quick that little thing was. I was having a hard time keeping up with the group, but for a beginner rider, that is a great bike. If you're thinking about that for your first bike, you could not go wrong. It'll go plenty fast enough, and it won't keep up with people with bigger bikes. But you don't want that when you're a beginner. When you're a beginner, you need something that's kind of a little more gentle. That thing is it's gentle, but at the same time, if you learn how to ride, you could utilize the power to its full potential. That bike did not have the adjustable suspension. It did have Brembo brakes, so the brakes were top notch. Also, that 390 Duke, what I found was the clutch, or the clutch lever felt very, very, very cheap. The other two bikes had hydraulic clutch. They were effortless. Great feel. All around, awesome. Wish I could have tried the whole lineup, but unfortunately I only had time to try the 3. Then they were closing up and going home. I'd like to thank KTM for allowing me to try these bikes today. If you're out there and you're paying attention, thank you very much for having a demo day for us to try all those motorcycles. It was very great of you. I'd also like to thank Pascal, our demo leader of the day. He was a great instructor. He allowed us to do everything. Well, I wouldn't say he allowed us to ride the bikes heavily, but not dangerously. How's that sound? Like, we weren't allowed to wheelie. We were allowed to, you know, throttle on them pretty hard. You get a good feel for the acceleration. all around, he was a great dude. He was very helpful. Any questions that you had, he knew everything about all the bikes. He could answer anything for you. I'd also like to thank Country Corners, where we were today. Country Corners in Exeter, Ontario. Huge shout out to you guys also for arranging this demo day. Thank you. I had a great time. And if I am in the market for a KTM bike someday, which could very well happen, I will definitely be knocking on your door first. Huge shout out to you guys for sure. Thank you from Ride On 2. Till next time, peace out.